105.5 FM. Remember to put the weather forecast into consideration when planning your journey and outings for today. I am Blessing Agbeator. Thank you for listening.
Well, there you have it. What to expect as far as the weather is concerned. Mostly cloudy in Ibadan today. There's, as a matter of fact, a 50% chance of rain between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. today, all the way till 6. And that percentage goes lower at 6. But mostly it's going to be a good day. At least I can say that much from here because I believe it. Welcome to the show. Beyond the Surface today, if I'm being honest with you, my heart is kind of heavy with what we're about to discuss this morning. And I've been trying to get myself to put myself in the right state of mind for this discussion. Somehow it's not just happening. It's weighing me down. And I'm hoping that the conversation that we'll have will help lift my spirits, that we can get solutions and feedback that would point a way to a future devoid of us talking about heartbreaking events such as this. I gave a hint earlier that we'll be looking at the story of Ini Omoren, who's a job seeker that was killed just over the weekend in Akwa Ibom. And because of that, I've taken the time to do a little research on how to spot some job scams. Yes, because I think that as we're talking about the problems, we should be talking about the solutions as well. But let's get to the story. Yeah, let's intimate you with what happened, especially for those who perhaps are not on social media and haven't seen the outcry and outrage that the revelations from this event has caused on Twitter and other social media platforms. So, the Akwa Ibom State Police Command arrested a fake recruiter whose name is given as Udwak Akman for allegedly killing and raping a job seeker, Iniobong Umoren, in the Airport Road area of Uyo. Now, it was gathered that Umoren had on Thursday gone for a job interview after Akman allegedly lured her with a fake job offer on social media. So, a few minutes after she sent a message to her friend, whose name is Umo Udwak, that she had left home for the venue of the interview, she became unreachable. Her friend raised the alarm on Twitter, alleging that she heard her friend who had gone for the interview scream from a 1-second voice note that she had sent, adding that efforts to reach her friend after that was abortive as her calls weren't picked and her mobile phone became unreachable eventually. Now, when this happened, by the way, this was on the 29th of April, barely 4 days ago. So it was on the 29th that she set out to this place. Before this date, she had posted something on Twitter on the 27th of April. And this is what she put out. #Akwa Ibom Twitter. Please, I am really in need of a job, something to do to keep mind and soul together while contributing dutifully to the organization. My location is Uyo. I am creative, really good in thinking critically, and most importantly, a fast learner. CV available on request. This was her tweet on the 27th of April. Now, a lot of people think that it was based on this tweet that she got the response she did from the said Udwak Akman, who eventually raped and killed her. So we do not know the details about what kind of job he said he was offering her. But you have to bear in mind that numerous people have sought for jobs on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and they are found. And these days, a lot of people tell you that social media makes things easy. So sell yourself, put yourself out there. Tell people what you can do. You do not know who would be needing your skills and may contact you from social media. We should not stick to the traditional ways of submitting CVs to physical offices and then going there to eventually look for jobs. More and more people are advising young people to take advantage of social media in trying to achieve their dreams of gaining employment. So she sought to do this. Little did she know, however, that she was working into a trap, because eventually it was reported that she had gotten into an argument with this Uduak Akban guy, who eventually hit her with an object on the head. She died. There's talk about him raping her before he actually killed her. Now, the most heartbreaking part of this is other members of his family have been indicted in this. Allegedly, they have a hand in this. And there are also reports, though unconfirmed, that other bodies might have been found in the compound where this girl was buried in a shallow grave. I'm trying to play for you an audio clip of the police addressing family members and certain other concerned indigents of the state who showed up to protest yesterday at the police headquarters over what they termed to be the police's attempt to hide certain details. But I'm going to pause on that, take a commercial break. When we come back, I'll play you some of the audios that I have, and then we'll look at the figures concerning unemployment in Nigeria, because we have to put it in perspective. This may be one person's story, and it became prominent because a lot of people are talking about it on the social media. But a lot of people get into traps like this almost on a daily basis, and it just underscores the desperation. We have millions and millions of young people leaving school every year hoping to get employment and then being disillusioned, ending up desperate, eventually falling into the hands of scammers. So we're going to look at what statistics on unemployment is. Then we'll take a look at ways to spot a fake job posting, at least what I was able to find, I will share with you. And then we'll look at what the solutions are. What would you consider justice for this young person? And what is the solution? Do we need a strengthening of our laws? Should we open a registry for employers at the local government levels? What should we be doing? What is going to help us get past having stories like this reoccur? But all of that will continue in a moment, so please don't go away.
As the best man, I'd like to give a toast. But first, I have a few things to say. The money they are spraying the couple is reducing. It seems some people have rubbed glue under their shoes to pack it.
Clearly, he's been watching Comedy Nights or maybe My Siblings and I on Africa Magic Urban, DSTV channel 153. Now, you too can get inspired by our local entertainment. Get a HD decoder, dish, plus 1 month DSTV compact subscription for only 18,600 Naira. Because great stories start on DSTV.
If you're like me, that has to deal with heavy downloads and a need to be connected, then you need a 9 mobile MiFi or router. At the office, at home, and on the go, never worry about a steady connection. Buy any of our MiFi or router data bundles for as low as 16,000 Naira and get a free 4G MiFi or router. Just visit any 9 Mobile Experience Center or authorized 9 Mobile dealer outlets to get yours. Terms and conditions apply.
9 Mobile.
It's gotta be good, it's gotta be nourishing, truly special, worth sharing, adding value to my life. My Hollandia yogurt, nourishing goodness for every moment, bringing out the best in me, My Hollandia yogurt, my Hollandia yogurt,
Hollandia yogurt, wholesome nourishment from your favorite brand.
Fresh breath is good, but strong teeth and fresh breath is even better. Use Oral-B 2-in-1 toothpaste for strong teeth and long-lasting fresh breath.
We have come to the end of the cooking competition. World famous chef Big Shot will decide the best food.
Wow, he has finished the food. So, who will he crown winner?
And it's a tie, ladies and gentlemen. All the chefs have been declared winners.
Woo!
Ladies, what's your secret?
No matter where you come from or your taste, you can make great meals every time with Onga, the seasoning of Niger, now made with locally sourced soya for more nutritional benefits.
Onga, Mama's helping hand.
If you don't know the transfer news, you might tell your friends your team has the top striker.
What are you talking about?
If you tell your friends your team has the top striker, they might loudly disagree. If they loudly disagree, the whole viewing center might get involved. If the whole viewing center gets involved, you might lose the argument. If you lose the argument, you might kick the floor in frustration. Before things get out of hand, settle it with Google Search. Get the latest football news, live scores, transfers, probabilities, and so much more on your Google app.
At Splash FM, we believe that the business of broadcasting in today's society should not only be about information dissemination, but ultimately about the quality of those who do the job. Our next agenda is to restore and consolidate the integrity of broadcasting, to train, to equip, and to mentor the next generation in the art and science of broadcasting, leveraging over a decade of excellence in the industry. Anticipate.
When you want buy correct wakis, you go say,
abeg, give me amala for am, ewedu, fufu, shaki, bokoto, abodi.
But when you want buy malaria medicine, you go say,
no be malaria.
Buy malaria drugs the same way you buy your food. Make they always ask for Quatem. We also dey for cherry flavored dispersible tablets for children too. Don't gamble with malaria. Choose right. Choose Quatem. If symptoms persist after 3 days, please consult your doctor.
Ní ìlú tó kún fún oríṣiríṣi àwọn èèyàn, Filakun lè bá igba orí mu. Pàápàá jùlọ tá a bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ ohun sísùn. Ìdí èyí tá a fi dìídì ṣe mú kàyé fún ọ. Ìwọ ìyá, bàbá, ọmọdé, àgbàlagbà. Báyìí wọ́n mú ká tìrẹ rí lónìí kó o sì jí pẹ̀lú ara líle láti lè ṣiṣẹ́ òòjọ́ rẹ̀. Kàn sí muka.com.
Muka ó mú ìrọ̀rùn sínú ayé wa.
Well, it's 20 minutes past 8 a.m. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Splash 105.5 FM on Beyond the Surface today, especially as today is the day marking the public holiday to celebrate Workers' Day. We're taking a time to look at the sad story of a Nigerian girl in Akwa Ibom who lost her life after she had gone for an interview with someone who unfortunately turned out to be a scammer and a murderer. Now, I told you how I have an audio to play for you, but let me also inform you that the audio you're about to listen to is the voice of the police public relations officer, Odike McDon, who stated in a statement just yesterday that the perpetrator, the Uduak Akpan, had been arrested. He said the suspect confessed to have raped and murdered the victim. He said that the Akwa Ibom Police Command has arrested Akpan Frank Uduak, who is just 20 years old. The murderer is 20 years old. So he's been arrested for kidnapping, raping, and murdering Mrs. Inyobong Omoren. On the 30th of April, the command, he said, received a report on the disappearance of the victim. Following available leads, men of the anti-kidnapping squad of the command consolidated on the initial progress by the DPO and arrested the perpetrator, who confessed to have lured his victim to his house on the pretext of giving her a job, but ended up sexually and physically assaulting her, which led to her death. Let me allow you listen to what the PPRO had to say.
Express his very deep sympathy on the demise of our very good friend. What has transpired is not a good one, but you can also know, and you've seen the role of the police. We have in custody the culprit. We've been able to apprehend him, but the area we are concerned about now is if there's any form of collaboration. If anybody is an accessory after the fact or an accessory before the fact, our concern is to be able to bring everybody that has any connection with this case to book. We are determined to do that, and by the grace of God, we are going to do just that. So please, we urge you to sympathize. Sympathize with the family, and then of course understand with us. Give us chance to be able to do what we needed to do. Indeed, he assaulted her both sexually and physically, and thereafter, when we caught him, after he had confessed, he was able to take us to the shallow grave where he buried her, and we were able to exhume the body. As I speak, the body has been deposited at UUTH. The essence of doing that is so that autopsy can be conducted. Now, if you do not conduct autopsy and you charge the matter to court for any want of diligent prosecution, the matter can be thrown out. And we do not want that. We want justice. That is why we want autopsy to be conducted. However, I'd like to say that the family will have access, unhindered access to the corpse to be able to really ascertain whether it's yes or not. But please, the CP sympathizes with family, friends, and loved ones of the deceased and the family on this matter. We are.
All right, so that is the PPRO of the police in Akwa Ibom State. He was assuring the crowd that gathered to protest that investigation would be discreet and unhindered, that the remains of the victim has been deposited at the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital mortuary for autopsy. And he also said that the parents will be granted access to the corpse of their daughter so they can identify her. But tensions are running high. A lot of people are angry, and justifiably so. Angry for a lot of reasons. Of course, we do not want to do a blame game. Whose fault is it that someone would even go on the internet to look for a job, or meet up someone who contacts her on social media for a job offer? And then there are people I've seen some some analysis on social media. Some people blaming her for not doing due diligence before setting out to meet this so-called recruiter. Citing cases in the past where people have met up from social media and they've ended up dead, and how she should have known better than do this. And I think that is a very unfair side of the argument. Totally. From everything that has been known about this girl, she is a good girl, studied hard, graduated, was looking to get employment. And all she wanted to do really was make her life better. She wanted to work. She wanted to find legal work. So it's not like she was trying to go into prostitution or trying to get it the fast way or the easy way. She really just wanted an opportunity to work and earn a living. And she's not alone. I mean, she's not the only one. Latest figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics has it that 33.3% of Nigerians were unemployed in the last quarter of 2020. Now, we just wrapped up the first quarter of 2021, so we're expecting figures for the first quarter of 2021. And I mean, your guess is as good as mine that the figures may not be anything better than we've seen in the past, considering what the situations are. Yeah, and the numbers keep increasing. As a matter of fact, Bloomberg reported that 69.7 million strong people who are willing to work in Nigeria worked for less than 20 hours a week, or not at all. And this made them unemployed during the period under review, while another 15.9 million worked less than 40 hours a week, which made them underemployed. So when you put this together, 69.5 plus 15 million, that's almost, that is more than 80 million Nigerians under or unemployed at the moment. And most times, all of them desperate for jobs. Oftentimes we hear the government cannot do everything by itself. Individuals have to develop themselves. Even the government itself has turned to telling young people to get skills, soft skills, entrepreneurial skills, develop businesses, and not rely on government to provide jobs. And then, of course, the argument is, yes, government may not be able to provide jobs for everybody, but government needs to do something. Government has to do something. It is the responsibility of government to ensure that its populace is taken care of. So would it be fair to blame this on the lap of the government? I'll allow you answer that for me when you begin to call in. But while we're still doing this and while we're still sharing useful information, I took the time to research a little as to how to spot scam jobs, how to detect and spot fake jobs. Now, of course, you have to realize that these things may not especially relate to every situation, because most times people who are looking for people to work for them don't usually have structured companies with emails and all of that, but at least it would give you an insight or certain steps to take, things to do to ensure that you're not falling into a trap, or to let you know that this job posting is fake and unrealistic. It may not cover all the bases, but at least I think if you look out for some of these things, you may just be warding yourself from falling into a trap. So the first one is, if it is too good to be true. So usually when something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. And you should just think twice about it. Something else that should raise your antenna of suspicion is if you as a job seeker didn't contact them, didn't apply, but they contacted you. That should raise your suspicion. Of course, for many reasons. How did you find my number, my details? How did you know I was looking for a job? And I mean, I would be suspicious. I would raise brows if someone just sent me an email from out of the blues inviting me for an interview that I particularly know that I didn't apply for. So that is a red flag right there. If the pay is high or much higher than a typical job should offer, especially for a person who's a graduate and hasn't had any experience at all, and then these people are offering you a salary of 350,000, or $1 million, or you would have to decide for yourself what is to. Some people are very ambitious, so 350,000 for a graduate is nothing at all. But when it's too good to be true, usually there is something suspicious about it. Also, if the job requirement and the job description is vague, they're not very particular about what they're looking for, then you should also be wary. It's also said that when they send you unprofessional emails, some emails from scammers are well written, but some aren't. So real companies hire professionals who write well. Whether they're writing emails or invitations for interviews, it is done well. So when you see spelling errors, punctuation errors, grammatical mistakes, your antenna should be telling you that something may not be right. Also, when you get online interviews via messaging services. So it says that many attempted scams say the interview will take place online using an instant messaging service. Scammers often include instructions for setting up and contacting the hiring manager and may ask for confidential information. So when anybody begins to ask you for confidential information because they're trying to schedule you for an interview, that might be an indication that all is not well, and it could be a scam. And now this is something that a lot of people do a lot these days because Google is your friend after all, and there's a lot of information out there if only you would search. Yeah, so when you get, whether you applied for it or not, when you do finally get an invitation to an interview, I think it's always important to do a background check of the company. And it's simple these days with Google. A simple search on Google with the company name would give you a lot more information that you perhaps already know about the location, about what the company is about even the position that you're applying for, the history and culture of that organization. These information would be available. And if you see something in that research that doesn't quite sit well with you, I mean, it's okay to be suspicious, to not want to go. This may not apply for, structured companies, and, there are certain places that invite you for interview. I mean, you can't even wait for the next day to show up and all of that, yes. But when little or nothing is known about the company, then I think you should be wary and take that feeling of uncertainty you have quite seriously. As I've said, when you're asked for confidential information, something might be wrong. When they're asking you to send money or asking for your personal bank accounts, things that they should have no business asking, then something may be wrong. Or when they want you to pay for something, that might also be an indication that something is wrong. A lot of the people who write about these things say also that when you have a gut feeling that this could be a scam, you probably might be right at the end of the day. When the company has no online presence, that is also something for you to be worried about. It could be a sign that this company is a scam, is fake, is somebody just hiding somewhere, fronting to be a company. And when you found this job post via random social media post, it could be an indication. I don't know how many people see these things, but you go around town. I know it happens a lot more in Lagos than in Ibadan here, but I mean, you're driving around town, you see someone write on the wall, vacancy available, call, and most times there are people that do. It is dangerous. Now, that's not to say that certain people will not adopt that method to advertise their vacancies, but it is dangerous because you do not know into whose hands you're falling in, and that could be a bad, terrible thing at the end of the day. So I hope that with this view, I want to wrap it up here so that we can take your comments before we wrap up on the show today. Remember, what got us here is that sad story of Iniobong Umoren, who was murdered in Akwa Ibom, Uyo to be precise, over the weekend when she went searching for a job. Someone contacted her on Twitter, scheduled for an interview, and she was supposed to go meet up for the interview. Hours after she had left, she became unreachable. Her number wasn't going through. Her friend said she had received a 1-second voice note, and in that voice note she had been screaming, and since then it was impossible to locate her. They lodged a complaint, and there was a lot of outrage. People started reaching out on Twitter talking about this, and before you know it, a lot of attention had been raised concerning this issue, so much so that the perpetrator, the murderer, left his location. I think he was said to have been in Oron in Akwa Ibom, and he left and went somewhere else because the heat had been turned up so much on him and he felt he was in danger. He left, went somewhere else, and then eventually came back before the police caught up with him. Unfortunately, the deed had already been done. He assaulted her sexually, raped her, and killed her, and buried her in a shallow grave in his father's compound. People are angry. Yes, a lot of people are angry. But the question I'm going to ask you is, how do we stop things like this from happening? Really, do you agree that the blame lies with the government? And what is the solution? Some people have said we should develop a registry. Local governments should have a registry of all employers. So you can go to the local government to get whatever information you need. If you've been invited for an interview by a company, that way it's easier to track who's employing who or who's going where. Is that really where the solution lies? And what would you describe as justice for INI in such a case as this? 0809 155 1055, 0805 699 8678 and 0706949 3000.
Hello, Chacha. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Mack.
Well, this is Dr. Mack.
Yes.
I will first use the opportunity to advise those looking for a job to watch out for some of those things you mentioned. But in addition to that, I have an experience with a cousin that stayed with me who went to Lagos to look for a job, and he narrowly escaped death because one of the merchants there, those who were supposed to be channeling them to the rooms, happened to be secondary school friend. So he just told them, just follow the back door, and that was how he escaped. So I want to advise that if you are seeking for a job, you have no business going to look for that person in a residential apartment. And organizations are set up such that you have a secretary, so when you're coming in and you're not seeing anything like that, it's just better for you to find your way. And Nigeria today, somebody said, is it the fault of the government? Government has a share of the blame as well. We used to have what is called government increasing on the number of jobs they are making available, and that they are not stopping. What I mean is that they are opening more opportunities for young people who are graduating to fix in. We have a whole lot of companies that have gone moribund. We as a country, we're supposed to have brought about some of them to revitalize some of them so that youth can be engaged. But to put it straight, individuals who are asking for this job should be more careful.
Okay.
When you are on...
Hello, Dr. Mark.
Somewhere and you search, you don't see anything about that organization. I mean, what are you going to do there? Even if you get there and somebody is directing you to a residential apartment, just find your way.
All right.
Don't enter.
All right, Dr. Mark, thank you very much. I totally understand where you're coming from. The applicants need to do more, but you have to understand the level of desperation that's available with a lot of job seekers. Most times they just want a break. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Please lower the volume on your radio, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, my name is George.
Your radio is still high, George. Can you help us lower the volume or turn it off?
Yes, I've turned it off. My name is George.
You're welcome to the show, George.
Okay, I've been following up the issue of this Udua company. I'm quite on my two-box with my sister. And I'm so shocked about her date. And I wonder that she has been killed by her own brother. It is quite unfortunate. But so my advice to all the job seekers is that even me, I'm one of the victims. I've been so touched before, but you don't want what the other God help us to escape. You don't have to be secretive about job. As you are going for job interview, let at least one or two persons know your whereabouts. Yes, because if she told one or two persons, she would have been accompanied by one or two persons to that place. I remember I've been going for some interviews, go with my brother, though you not be permitted to
enter
or to the venue. You can be around and if they discover that you have been accompanied by someone, even if they have the mind to perpetrate any evil, they won't be able to carry it out that easily. Maybe they will just be scared and discharge you. It's better you don't get the job rather than for you to go and lose your life.
Absolutely.
It's my sympathy to the family. It is quite unfortunate. And I pray that government should make sure that the perpetrators have been brought to justice.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, George. Thank you. And I've heard people say that also, that the way things are going, it's advisable for you, if you're going for an interview, to go in the company of somebody so that at least you have someone who can immediately raise the alarm. If they wait for you 1 hour, 2 hours, you're not coming out. It's not going to be something that takes too long. So perhaps that is a solution, really, that job seekers can look to. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Abiodun. I'm calling from Ibadan.
Please say that again.
My name is Abiodun. I'm calling you from Ibadan.
Great, Abiodun. Nice to have you here. Happy Workers' Day.
Thank you very much. Now, I'd like to make comments on what you are discussing. To me, I want to say this categorically clear. In every 10 job interview in Nigeria that you have, they're all scam. That's the number one experience I have.
No. Say that again. In every 10 job interviews, what?
Interview that you have, that you are called for.
Yes.
I can say it categorically clear. 8 to 7, they are all scam.
Oh, wow.
The only way for transition here in the time. The advice I have for youth like me, please go and learn this skill. And then one of the major problems we have, Chacha, is that even the pressure sometimes are from our parents. Someone like me now, I have gone to so many interviews, both in Lagos and in Ibadan. I know for an job, white collar job, in every 10 in Ibadan, only one is me. Then in Lagos, like you can have 5 that are real out of 10. But in Ibadan, in every 10 interview you have, white collar job, 8 and 9 are real. In Lagos, 5 they are for certified scam. Or is that marketing or commission? They start telling you stories.
Yes.
They need to inform themselves. Don't allow anybody to pressurize you for your job. Once you graduate, you don't have to go and learn a job.
Look for a skill to learn.
Pressure even from our own parents. That's one of the major problems.
All right.
Go and look for a job. But the jobs they are even there available for people to say thank you.
Absolutely. Abiodun, thank you so much for your comments. He says, do not allow people to pressure you into a tight corner. Jobs are not as available as would want them. So there's nothing wrong if you graduate and you're looking to learn a skill as against being desperate and looking so desperately for a job. Hi, good morning.
Yeah, this is Ahmed Dambo.
Hi, Ahmed. Welcome. Happy Workers' Day. Yeah.
Yeah, quite a pathetic story for me.
Very heartbreaking.
I was heartbroken when I heard about that story yesterday. Most Nigerian graduates can fall a victim. You don't have to blame the young lady because the girl is trying to fail our own day. That's why some people make things best serious, but I will think this is serve as clearance for every one of us. That people shouldn't be best serious when it comes to speaking of job on social media. Because I believe that young guy took advantage of her because he's trying to play on her that this lady should really best serious the job. And also, like you said a lot, and I totally agree with you that not one that you don't know the place. Why can't you just do your personal test?
Yes.
That maybe you can just do it before the date of the interview with your friend. Just to know the location. There was a time we had this, company directly on big book that you can search for a company's address and those books. I don't think we still have anything like that anymore. If you can have all the registered companies in Nigeria and have a particular website that people can just visit just to know the name of this company.
Yes.
You can go to their main location.
It would really help, yeah. Okay.
We need something about that one. Just to have the online directory of all the companies in Nigeria.
All right.
And also, people should tell people around them before they go to that
interviews.
And also, people that will come to that vacancy job, that maybe the person call you regularly, they know the time that you will be coming to that place. I think
that should be a red flag.
Kind of people as
okay.
Well. And you coming.
All right.
Time.
All right.
The way of those things. We just continue to protect us.
Amen.
We have a lot of mortar perpetrators of this on social media.
Really? Thank you. Amen. Thank you so much, Ahmed. Thank you very much. Totally appreciated. Hello. Hello, good morning. Are you there? Okay, your line is active, but we can't hear you. So I take it there's something wrong with your line. Please try to call us again. Hopefully, we would be able to make something out of that. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Abdullah from Sango.
Abdullah, it's nice to have you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I could see that about that job seeking. That is the failure of our government.
Okay.
If you said from Google that how many graduates can work in Ajakuta. When I check it, you see that 600 graduates can work in Ajakuta.
Just 600.
Yes,
and we have millions. Okay, 600,000. Oh, okay.
600,000 graduates
okay.
that work in Ajakuta. And there's so many other fields like that. See, in international company, they have sort of staff there. They won't put. Even when federal government, they need staff. We won't send memo that they need staff. So, this country, in fact.
All right. Abdullahi, thank you. He says the blame lies squarely at the foot of government. It is their failure that is affecting us, and there's no gainsaying that. Perhaps you agree. But the bottom line is that we need to be careful, and a lot of the callers have said so this morning. You know, there are certain things, little things that we can do when going for interviews to ensure our safety, like telling people about it, going with someone if you can, refusing to go in for the interview if the place is a residential apartment and looks suspicious. You know, I think these things will help and will keep people safe, but there is no denying the fact that government has a role to play in protecting this. I'm going to take the final call for the morning and then we'll wrap up. Good morning.
Good morning, Jerome.
Hi, good morning, Charles.
Yes, I think according to what your last caller said, the government is to be blamed. You see, the government is not providing a need, just like everybody is saying the money. The government is not providing another way for the youth to succeed in the country. A lot of parents cannot even take care of their children again. Most of the children are on the streets now, looking for how to fend for themselves. And because of the failure of the government. Now, you see, in advanced countries, you can never operate a business without registering with the government. It's not possible here. But yeah, you need to just wake up, start floating a business, and that's why people get big easily. People get killed easily. So, it's just a thing like, let's go to the government and make sure that anybody that wants to operate business register with the Ministry of Labor and Employment. Anybody just think is looking for a job, when you construct the Ministry of Labor, it will be easy for you because that person knows that if he does anything wrong, they will come after him.
All right.
There's nothing on ground for check and balances.
All right.
They'll be able to get anything in any crime they commit.
Totally agree with you, Charles. Thank you. People get away with all the crimes that they commit. There's no checks and balances. Unfortunately, this has happened. I mean, we continue to pray for the family of this girl and families of people who are in situations like this, and we pray that her soul rest in peace. But there's a lot we need to do as a people and as a government. That's our show for this morning. Thank you for listening. I hope that you enjoy your holiday. Keep it locked on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. My name is Charity Jerome. Good morning.
Splash FM